to the Teradek booth at IBC 2013 for our very last live show guest from the News Shooter website. That'll be us. And I'd like to introduce Mr. James Tonkin of Hangman Studios. What you were just watching there, if you were watching before we came back on, was a little reel by James. And you're best known, I guess, for shooting some reasonably well-known bands like Ollie Williams and Coldplay and those kind of people.
Sort of, it's just small,
inconsequential
indie artists.
Yeah. I mean, they only pay like $1,000 for a completed video, right? That's
if that. They, record companies are always trying to push budgets down.
Give you so if nobody's ever heard of you like Coldplay, then that's all I can afford. Anyway, right, I digress. So we've got you on. Thanks for coming on the show. It's nice to finally get you on one of our shows. You did a blog post for us, maybe it must be a year ago now, a bit longer.
That's right.
About some of the work you've been doing with Coldplay.
That was after
a lot of the readers, I think, found it really interesting. That essentially a one-man band, run-and-gun guy could get such amazing shots in a behind-the-scenes environment. You want to just tell us, for those who didn't see it, what were you up to then?
So the Coldplay tour, I was kind of hired to do the documentary element of a big live show that they're putting out, Coldplay Live 2012. So I was hired by the director of the show, who was shooting a load of different shows, some in Canada and a main one in Paris at Stade de France. And he wanted to weave together little documentary elements, basically, kind of really nice, considered interviews, sort of voiceover led. And he basically said to me, I've got the best brief for you. I want you to shoot everything. It's all going to be in black and white. It's all going to be slow-mo. You don't have to do any vox pop talking heads with anybody. Just go out and make pretty pictures and just work with the band over the summer. So it was I couldn't have had a better brief, really.
So I've got to ask you this, because I'm sure everybody wants to know, how the hell do you get a gig like that? Who do you have to sleep with to pull that one off?
Yeah, it's
Now, you've been doing this for a while. And this is
it's always luck, and it's people you meet along the way, basically. And I just got recommended by a producer who I met on a Chili Peppers gig, and
as you do,
hanging out, filming the Chili Peppers. I think he was impressed because we turned up basically to do an interview with the band, and we were expecting to do them sort of one at a time, and then suddenly they all four together, and he'd only expect to have one camera, and I think I was shooting on an FS100 at the time, and he said, "Oh God, the band are all coming at the same time." And I was like, "That's okay, don't worry, I got a 60D in my, back in the camera bag." And he liked the idea that I brought a second camera along, even though we weren't intending to. So it's just trying to be prepared for things, and then obviously that job went well, and it's just, I think I take that approach to just try and offer more than people are expecting.
How did you get into? I mean, were you big in documentary before that? What's your background?
My background is from editing and directing. So I got into editing through learning Final Cut right at the very beginning. So talking like 99, 2000, just as the first version.
You coming out of college? Are you training somewhere?
I had a music background, so I thought I was going to be a producer, engineer. Come on,
you thought you were going to be Robbie Williams, didn't you?
Yeah.
Let's face it, look at you.
Well,
I mean, that's...
let's be honest. I wanted to be in bands. I love music. Music was what I grew up with, and I thought that was the area I wanted to go in. So I went down to do a degree because I wanted to learn how to record my band properly, and that's where I was going to go with it. And then we ended up in our third year at uni doing a project where we got to make music videos, basically. And that kind of gave me my first taste for, again, I was kind of controlling. I thought, well, I want to make the music video. If I've written songs, I want to have an element, and I want to control that side of things. And I just got a taste for being behind the camera, and that led on. And before I knew it, basically I got into learning editing software, and editing software then kind of opened more doors.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I do think coming from an editing background gives you a huge advantage, I think, when it comes to putting together documentary, certainly documentary type productions, larger productions, where you have to not just look at there's an interview and there's a couple of shots here and I'm just going to sling it all together, but having a much broader view of where you're going and what goes where, because that some poor guy, maybe you, is going to have to edit it all together and have it make sense at the end. Would you say that's
every cameraman should be an editor at some point. I think that it's just such a great skill to have because, well, to start with, you learn everything about production from the edit suite because you get to see pick all the best and all the worst takes. You get to see where things have fallen apart because you're the one who's got to put them together and repair them. So it's a really good way to start off. And that was my route. I started offline editing, then got more into online editing, got more interested in sort of grading and finishing, and always sort of directing projects along the way. And then really, I got to owe it to cameras like 5D because that just got me interested in picking up a camera that size and running out and just shooting with it.
Do you think too, a tip for younger people who are first getting into the industry perhaps is, as you said, you come from a music background, so you're obviously going to be more passionate when you're doing a music-based type sort of project because you're into it, you're interested in it. So for people out there, you think it's a good idea, if they've got an interest in a particular thing, go out and make a passion project or whatever about something that you're actually interested in, because you're not going to be super keen about something if you're, we'll say lawn bowls, for instance. I'm just using this metaphor. What do you mean? If you get sent out to shoot lawn bowls and you can't stand lawn bowls, you're not going to necessarily do a great job at shooting lawn bowls.
You're completely right. I mean, the aim is you want to always try and marry that thing which you just love, your kind of passion, with what you make a living out of. And yeah, I didn't realise consciously what I was doing, but that's essentially where I've kind of landed up. I love music. Music's always been my kind of background, but I fell into actually getting more interested in making a living out of shooting images and combining those two. That's kind of been the pinnacle.
So when you're out in front of shooting sort of Coldplay, you're probably a part of your brain's probably thinking to yourself, geez, I'd be doing this for free if someone gave me the opportunity.
That's funny when you say that. It's the best moments of doing the Coldplay tour, actually the moments when I kind of plucked up the courage to, say to the management, wouldn't it be great, let's do the shot, let's follow the band out to the stage. And they were kind of going, yeah, let's do it. And, the band go up out onto stage in front of 80,000 people in a massive, massive stadium venue. And you just tiptoe onto stage with them, trying to get a nice shot at the same time. And then, you kind of settle back behind a guitar amp and then keep filming. And then at some point it kind of kicks in that, yeah, actually I'm on stage in front of 80,000 people. I'm trying to relive those, dreams I would have had, 10 years ago if my band had made it. So
it's not too late. There's still time. Barry Manilow, it's possible. Okay, so that's you. That's how you got into it. What are you up to now? Where are you heading with all this? What's your latest kind of work and what's your direction?
I've just finished a tour with Ollie Williams this summer. So we've been basically filming pretty much all of his shows, his stadium shows across the UK and Europe. And for every show, we've been turning them around into a little sort of 2-3 minute kind of on the road travel.
For each show?
Yeah. For each show. We ended up doing 16 of them. We cut out a few places that we thought wouldn't be so interesting.
And these were going up as it went, or are they going to be put together as one big documentary?
No, they were going up as it went. They were pretty much going out 2 days after. So it was a pretty tight turnaround. And I made it harder for myself because I decided to shoot the majority of it on Red Epic, as well as basically I picked a combination.
You did make it hard for yourself, didn't you?
Basically, I can never settle on one camera format. I was shooting with Blackmagic cameras, pocket camera, shooting with the Epic for the concert stuff because we were also turning around stills at the same time. The stills had to go up each night, so that's
interesting too. But we can get there in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And FS700 as well, using it as a dock camera, and then getting back and throwing everything at my editor, who, thank God,
Where can people see this? Can they see it anywhere?
So it's all actually on his YouTube channel. That was the main drive. His website and his YouTube channel, and it's on, I think, Ollie Williams official videos or something like that. It's his official YouTube channel, and it's about 16 series long episodic of him on tour. And it starts right from rehearsals and finishes right with the last show.
And what's it like working with a guy like that? I mean, you can talk specifically about Ollie Williams, or just in general with big name guys?
It's a lot of fun because I've been lucky. I've worked with him and his management company for over 12 years now, and you just during that time you build up a trust and you build up a relationship. And the great thing about doing this tour was they really gave me sort of carte blanche to go out and to film however I thought would work. out of the 16 episodes we did, we maybe took out 3 shots on request, and not a single one of them was him. It was just, now and again, people decided, let's focus it on that, let's focus it on
Well,
this.
he must have had pretty, the carte blanche from PR people, that's pretty unheard of.
Yeah,
really.
when, as I say, it's a relationship building over the time, and I only had one person I had to sign off with, his manager, basically, and it was great, and especially when you're on those really fast turnarounds that we had to get the stuff up because we'd made a commitment that we were going to get stuff up onto his site at a certain time, and, had we got changes at the 11th hour, it would have just derailed the whole project. So to be able to pretty confidently edit the thing, grade it, and just get a final approval, and it went straight up. It was great.
I mean, do you see yourself as a sort of, still see this as a documentary project, or is this basically commercial to you? Or is there some greater motive in all of this?
Things just... I never label something when I get into it, because I think things just slip around between different fields. Like, I think the best case for me when I thought about... I went out to Beijing and I did some films for a company out there, basically filming their watches, and in a sense, the initial spec for that seemed to me like a corporate video. And then I started thinking about it like a corporate video, and I started limiting some of my ideas. And then in my head I thought, why don't I just think about it like a commercial? But it's, it's a lower end commercial. And it's, I think the only differentiation of things is just your approach. And I basically just like to always apply a cinematic approach to everything I do. That's what I'm
it's something you seem to be quite well known for now. You seem to be getting a name for yourself. Is there a feature film in the
Not
future there somewhere?
Whether there's one inside of me buried deep, I'm not sure.
The Ollie Williams story.
It's funny because I never really watched documentary that much, and I never ever consider myself a documentary filmmaker very much. I love cinema, and I love movies, and I love narratives. But I guess the challenge with, and the fun thing about documentary work is that you go out to do a show in Madrid and you have a 2-minute video to make, and you have no idea what you're going to get, and you've got 12 hours essentially there on the ground to get it, and at the end of it you have to have made a video in that time, or something compelling, and something that's hopefully been as good as the last ones you're doing, or if not better.
Is there a ton of other stuff that's unseen? Are you rolling the whole time and then cutting it out because you think that's just not suitable for this video, and perhaps and is there that big documentary then with all the outtakes that eventually gets sanctioned when he's 60 and living it up in Marbella somewhere? Well, he does it anyway, but living it up.
I always overshoot, definitely. I'm guilty of overshooting. I mean, ask my editor.
So it is there somewhere.
There's a ton of footage. We intend this month, if there's time this month, to go back to revisit and to stitch together more content, just so we can actually fill it out and we can finish it as a sort of 45, 50 minute, maybe even a 60-minute piece for ourselves. But so there's a lot of footage. I mean, from the first episode, I went and I shot in Wiltshire for 5 days, and we turned that into a 2-minute video. So there's a lot of me shooting trees and GVs of Wiltshire countryside and things, just because why not?
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what you've been up to with these cameras. So I saw you earlier on the Blackmagic design booth. You were wearing a little Blackmagic design t-shirt. What's all that about? So
I've been really lucky to work with Blackmagic for quite a long time now. They're an amazing company. They do what I've always embraced in the industry, and that's to be disruptive. And they take technology and they make it widely available to everybody at incredible prices. And that's why I'm so kind of honoured to maintain a relationship with them, because it's just a really, really nice situation to be able to talk to the people who make the cameras and design the software, and to have this sort of very close relationship when you can suggest features and talk about how things should develop, and you know that people you're having a two-way conversation, things are being listened to, and they feed back ideas to you. So basically I've been having this great relationship of sort of beta testing the cameras since the cameras came out, and also as soon as I got onto Resolve and when version 7 came out, it's transformed our...
So you were using DaVinci Resolve before it was Blackmagic, basically?
I started using Resolve from version 7, basically, so once Blackmagic...
Just when they bought it?
Yeah, once it went to Mac. I only touch it if it's on Mac, basically. Our infrastructure is all sort of set around Mac, and it was such a transformation. Basically the power it gave us to be able to grade at the level that Hollywood features are graded.
And here's the thing: so you're actually grading a lot of this work yourself, or are you? I mean,
yeah,
you said you speak to your editor. So there's an editor here somewhere, but then are you coming back and doing the end?
I decided to take off the editing gloves a long time ago. I edit on projects when I need to still, and when it's I'm on the road, it's fast turnaround, it has to be done. But I think there's so much more value now for us in the handing over the editorial to somebody else who comes in, they see it fresh. They haven't come back from 5 or 6 18-hour sort of shoot days. They actually they're ready, they're eager, they want the footage, and it's a really great thing to let go of that idea of controlling everything myself and just let somebody else.
As long as you have some sort of synergy, I guess.
We do, yeah, exactly.
So I think we've got something to show that you've shot with these cameras.
Yeah,
is that right?
Well, so last night at the Super Meet, we looked at
the Final Cut Pro users group Super Meet. Yeah.
Exactly, Final Cut Pro Super Meet. Or the Creative CP, I can't remember what it stands for now. Yeah.
Don't ask me.
The Super Meet, the place to be in Amsterdam on a Sunday night. We were looking at Resolve 10 and the new features, and as part of that, I basically had put together over the summer a kind of a spec commercial for Samsung of a lot of the stuff that we'd shot. So you'll see this now. It's definitely it's a Samsung piece. There's
okay,
a lot
well,
of
I'm going to play it, but I'm going to play it with the sound down a little bit, and hopefully you can tell us a little bit about what we're seeing.
Well, I'll show you, especially at the beginning. So right now we're looking at a couple of Red Epic shots, and this third shot, that's pocket camera, and then that's Blackmagic camera, and then we go into a load of FS700 footage. And for me, that was a big wow factor when I played it last night, and even a wow factor for me just the night before when I was grading it was to see just how well.
So what's this? This is FS700, is it?
Now we're into a load of FS700 pretty much until the show. There's a few pocket camera shots still integrated. That's a pocket camera shot.
So why do you use the pocket camera? You've got these amazingly, you've got FS700, you've got Epic, you've got access to dream cameras. Why are you using the pocket?
There's a time when running around with the Epic all day long just completely wears you out. It's a fantastic camera, but I have to pace myself when I do these shoot days because I'll fly in and I'll end up doing 16 to 18 hour days. So if I go out and I go and shoot sort of general shots of the city, the ideal camera to have with me is something the size of the pocket camera because it's small, it's convenient, it shoots amazing, beautiful images with a great dynamic range, and that's all I need when I'm running around.
How is it in low light? This is not that low light, but low-ish light.
So now this is all pretty much majority Epic footage, but I shot one of the shows just on my own kind of test with the pocket camera, and it looks great. We've got 1600 ISO on the camera, and plus I tend to, especially when I'm finishing a Resolve, which this was, I've got little kind of node trees where I can really crush the footage around, and I can kind of get more out of it. I'm pretty confident with how I
testament to your grading abilities and the power of Resolve is that if you watch that last clip that we just saw, you would have thought it was all shot on one camera.
Well,
you'd never know it was shot on a combination of cameras that cost $1,000 and cameras that cost $40,000 or $50,000.
Well, you know what? It starts with the camera and the sensor because I can only do so much afterwards. And I was genuinely shocked, and I thought it was a really kind of good point to show it Super Meet that we literally start the first two shots with exactly that. A camera package which costs 28,000 euros, and then the third and fourth shot, a shot's shot on a pocket camera, which is about 785 euros. I mean, they shouldn't sit together. They shouldn't work, but they do, and I thought they looked great.
Are there any specific issues you've had? What are the downsides to this camera that you found, or things not necessarily things you've had to work around to make it do what you want it to do?
I guess it was almost, to be honest, it was almost designed just for somebody like me because I shoot a lot handheld. Even with the Epic, it sounds a bit nuts, but I run around with the Epic handheld the whole time with a 70 to 200 lens on. It's probably why I get fatigued quite quickly. But literally, I like to just shoot with it in my hand. And the thing which I loved about this is that I've not even tried building it up on a big rig. It's not the way I'd go with it. I shot everything.
It seems slightly pointless to put a huge rig on. I mean, that's already getting it's getting 5D sized like that.
Yeah, well, basically, I really like using stabilized lenses because I like working really small. I shot all of the Rob stuff with pocket camera, and a Panasonic 12 to 35mm panny lens on it, and it was a constant
f2.8.
f2.8, so it's constant throughout the zoom, and it's also got stabilizing on it. And I kind of unashamedly admit that I use image stabilizing a lot, just so I can keep the camera form factor down, and I can walk around Zurich, and I can just shoot shots of trams and people, and everybody just assumes I'm taking pictures of them.
How about the battery life though? You found that to be a problem?
No, because all I do is I just walk around. I've got some in my pocket now. I basically walk around with... I know.
You
that wasn't even planned, I promise. I walk around, and here I've literally got...
What's that? So open it up and see what you've got inside.
Yeah, I'll give you that. So,
look, I've got a little camera that we can use to show.
There you go.
Just to prove. There we go. Look at that. A
couple of Nikon batteries. A couple of Nikon batteries, a couple of cards in there. It's true to its name, and that's why I love the fact that it is this small, because you're right, I've got a lot of other cameras I could use, but half the time it's not about just if I was going to go for everything just for pure image quality, then I'd run around with the Epic all day long, but I would end up filming less, and I think I'd get less content, because
here's the thing, and actually this you choose what you need to get the job done. Your content is first, your relationships and everything else can't be jeopardised by you faffing around with a camera for 15 hours to get the perfect sort of shot. You've got to be there, and you've got to get it right there then, and be as unobtrusive as possible.
It's the immediacy of it. I remember we, in pre-production on the Coldplay tour, I chatted to the director before, Paul Dugdale, and his question to me was, I want to make sure that, when the band suddenly turn around and do something crazy or amazing, I want to know that, you're going to be there, ready to record at any point.
It's a big ask.
And it's like, so it's literally like finger on the trigger the whole time. So it's like you always have to be ready to film whatever moment that's occurring, and you can't wait for a camera to boot up for 10 seconds and then the moment's gone. So I always choose a camera for that sort of literally capturing any moment as it occurs. I choose a camera thinking I've got to have the ability to capture any moment as it occurs, otherwise it's gone.
Well, great. That's very, very good advice to anybody who's looking to shoot the next Ollie Williams video. Be you. Now, before you go, I would like you to do the honours.
Oh, cool.
So this is our prize draw. We were going to give away a Red Epic, but sadly we left it in the hotel. And now we're giving away a Rode Reporter microphone to one lucky person who has put their name in. Are you just making sure that all your cards in there, Matt? Every single one says Matt Allard.
I think my card's in there as well.
So if you do draw yourself, then
we'll
goes...
put it back.
Okay. So the winner of this from the prize draw on the booth is
Martin Sinclair, who is a developer from Phoenix.
Okay, I don't know who they are, but if Martin Sinclair is anywhere near the booth, please come and get it. Otherwise, we'll make sure it gets to you somehow. Let's hope that you don't live in outer Mongolia. Right, thank you very much. That's it for today. Thank you very much, James, for coming in. This is the end for us from IBC, from New Studio. Oh, there's the bell calling time. I'd just like to thank my co-host, Mr. Matthew Allard, the entire team out there filming for us today, and also Teradek, our hosts, who have continued to support us for the past few years, and we hope they do so in the future.